Senator Hawley,
Here's the deal. The American people just voted. The American people just voted. You know what? It's my time, not yours. So you're here to answer my questions, not to offer a soliloquy. You want to give everybody who's here a path to citizenship. You want blanket amnesty. You talk about mass deportations. That's your word, not Trump's. You want mass amnesty, right? It's right here in your testimony.
We want a path to citizenship.
That's amnesty.
Who pass a background check, who pay a
That's
fine.
amnesty. Who you just said is millions of people, 13 million people. Right.
Hey, welcome back. In this clip, Senator Josh Hawley takes Biden's immigration policy and shreds it to pieces in a brutal Senate hearing. Senator Hawley shows no mercy and uses pure logic to make the Democratic pro-illegal immigration policy look like a complete joke, which it is. He touches on innocent Americans being killed by criminal illegals, jobs being lost to criminal illegals, and the absolute refusal from Democrats to take any accountability.
I have to say, I'm kind of amazed that we're holding this hearing. To me, it's remarkable that the idea of actually, as you were just saying, Ms. Morin, the idea of enforcing our laws, protecting our border, securing our streets from criminals, it's amazing that that's controversial at all. And it says something a lot about the other side of the dais that we're having this hearing today. Let me just ask you, Mr. Reifman-Melnick, I mean, is it really such a bad idea to deport people like the criminal who killed this young man? This is Travis Wolf. He was 12 years old when he was killed. He was mowed down, and I do mean mowed down, in a car by an illegal immigrant, 12 years of age, walking along a sidewalk in my state of Missouri, mowed down by an illegal immigrant.
A 12-year-old child dead, murdered by someone who had no legal right to be here. This is not an accident. It is a direct consequence of Biden's open border policies. Again, a total joke. How many more kids have to die before they wake up? How many more funerals will it take? This blood is on their hands.
Who I think also had a prior criminal record. Is it such a bad idea to deport the person who killed him?
Any person who commits a heinous crime should suffer the consequences under the law.
Good. What about Officer David Lee? Officer David Lee was killed in Missouri just a few months ago by another illegal immigrant, once again in a car, who used it as a lethal weapon to ram him and kill him. Is it so wrong, such a bad idea to deport the illegal immigrant who killed this good man?
Again, any person who commits an awful act should face the full force of the law. And
We've had multiple stabbings in the state of Missouri at laundromats in O'Fallon, Missouri, where innocent civilians were going to do their laundry of an evening and were attacked with knives, slashed, bled, stomped upon. Should the illegals who do that, should they not be deported?
No, as I said, if you commit an offense, you should face consequences. But the overwhelming majority of the 13 million people here today
We've had officers assaulted in Kansas City on the other side of the state who have been assaulted by illegal immigrants. One officer required over 100 stitches to the head, a police officer, earlier this year. Should the illegal immigrant who did that not be deported?
Again, they should face the consequences of the law, but they are a very small minority of the population that President Trump is promising to deport.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the people who you don't want to be deported. You said in an article that you wrote recently, new report shows devastating costs of mass deportation. You wrote this in October. Do you remember this piece?
Yes, that is a summary of our report.
Yeah, so in this piece, and it's also in your written testimony, you talk about how much the economy will lose.
This is such a broken record, the economic argument for illegal immigration. Let me ask you something. What about American workers losing jobs and wages? What about them? This whole "we need illegal labor" nonsense is a slap in the face to hardworking citizens. They are driving down wages while lining the pockets of big corporations. And Democrats call this compassion? I don't think so.
If the United States actually enforces our immigration laws and deports folks who are here illegally, and I want to quote you now, you say some industries would be particularly hard hit, including construction, agriculture, and hospitality, which combined would lose more than 2.5 million workers. What's the argument here, that there aren't American workers who are available to do those jobs?
No, and as I said previously, there likely are, but the issue is that—
And you don't want their wages to rise?
I think that we want to pass a path to citizenship so we can have a level and fair playing field for every American.
Why would you want American citizens and those who are here lawfully to have to compete against illegal immigrants who, by the way, are often paid not minimum wage, who are not given the federally mandated benefits precisely because they're here illegally. Why would you want to drive down the wages of millions of working Americans who can't get those jobs in construction, agriculture, and hospitality because illegal immigrants are getting them and suppressing wages in the meantime? Why would you want to do that?
Well, if you didn't hear from my initial testimony, you know I don't want
Oh,
to.
listen, I read your testimony word for word, and I've been watching it, and I know what the answer is. You don't actually care about working people because you're absolutely hell-bent on this ideological agenda of opening our border. You want to give everybody who's here a path to citizenship. You want blanket amnesty. You talk about mass deportations. That's your word, not Trump's. You want mass amnesty, right? It's right here in your testimony.
We want a path to citizenship.
That's amnesty.
Who pass a background check, who pay a
That's
fine.
amnesty. Who you just said there's millions of people, 13 million people. Right.
He just keeps dodging the word amnesty. They'll call it a path to citizenship to make it sound nice and tidy. But let's be real, that's just lipstick on a pig. You ask them a simple question, is this amnesty? And instead of answering, they hide behind vague nonsense about background checks and fairness. Here's the truth. Millions of illegal immigrants getting legalized is amnesty. They just don't want to admit it because they know the American people will reject it.
13 million people you want to dump into the labor force.
They are already
who will drive
in the labor force,
illegally.
Senator.
They're here,
Yes.
taking jobs
So
from
let's
American
make it
citizens. And so,
legal and avoid
perfect. So
this.
here's your plan. So just if you're wondering, America, here's the Democrats' plan. Take the 13 million plus illegals who are here, taking jobs from Americans, taking wages down, taking health care benefits, and bring them here legally so that they can continue to drive down wages, flood the labor force, and suppress
Senator
all of the
Hawley, they
above.
can't flood the labor force if they're already part of the labor force, which is
They
the
are
economic
flooding the
issue
labor
today.
force now. That's what's happening now. Why do
The
you think
majority
wages
have been here for
flatlined?
over 15 years. Many millions have been
And
here
what has
since the
happened to
Reagan
working class
administration.
wages in that time, Mr. Reichland-Melnick?
Working
Have
class
they gone
wages
up?
are currently going up. Yes.
Oh, really?
They
They've
have
gone up over the last
year.
15 years?
Over the
They're
last
up?
15 years, I will have to consult the economists on that matter.
Yeah, they're down, way down. What world do you live in? Listen,
Senator Hawley,
here's the deal. The American
familiar
people
with the
just
phrase,
voted.
"Don't
The American
cut off your
people
nose to
just
spite your
voted.
face."
Well, you know what? It's my time, not yours. So you're here to answer my questions, not to offer a soliloquy. And let me just end with this. The American people just got a good look at your economic program, and they voted against it. We've had an open border for the last 4 years. We have had de facto amnesty, as you yourself just said, for the last 15 plus years. It has been a disaster. People have died because of it. Wages are lower because of it. Our streets are in chaos because of it. And now you and the Democrat Party just say more of the same, more of the same. Let's double down. I would just say to you, I think that's insanity. I think it's total insanity, and the American people do too.
Josh Hawley dismantled and tore apart the absurd, tone-deaf arguments defending Biden's immigration disaster. Innocent lives lost, American workers sidelined, and an open border that's been a total catastrophe. How much more of this will the American people tolerate? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more bold and unapologetic content.